Injuries from hit-and-run accidents. Hit-and-run accidents are problems we face in our society, and oftentimes it leaves people without any idea what they can do to become fairly compensated for the injury they've had. Gary, do you work on hit-and-run accidents?
Right. Hit-and-runs, as you know, we've covered on our radio show before. The statistics are kind of startling. Depends on the state, but in Colorado, they average about 22 to 23% of the drivers on the road have no insurance. They have no protection for you or your family. You need to think about that, and we covered already in this virtual injury seminar that you need to get the highest uninsured motorist limits that you can for your own car policy. But let's say you're involved in a hit-and-run incident, you're injured, and you need to concentrate on a few things right off the bat.
Well, we often talk about the fact that we say special rules apply. Let's talk about some of those special rules. First, how do I get payment for my legitimate or reimbursement for my legitimate injuries?
Right. When you're involved in a hit and run, the first things you must do is preserve the scene. Do not leave the scene of the hit and run. Even though the other driver left, you don't want to leave. You want to stay there. If you have a camera, take pictures of the debris. It's going to be hard, if not impossible, to show or prove to a very disbelieving insurance company that you were involved in a hit and run. And so you want to preserve the evidence. Your car's probably been damaged. You've probably been injured. There's probably debris in the street. If there's witnesses, you need to preserve the witnesses. Need to get their names, their addresses, and find out what they saw. Did they see the entire accident from beginning to end? Did they identify, and can they identify, the hit-and-run driver, the hit-and-run driver's license plate, and the car or the vehicle?
Tell me these. Remembering, there's nobody there. The person who caused this accident isn't around. Can I get compensation for medical bills and expenses?
Sure you can. Can you get your medical bills paid for? As we've covered in other parts of this seminar, you need to seek medical treatment. And I'm not going to repeat that here. But you can get your medical bills paid for. How? Well, if you have MedPay can still apply even to a hit-and-run situation. If you don't have MedPay, you can get your medical bills along with your injuries, damages, and losses covered by and paid for with your own your uninsured motorist policy. Your own car insurance company can pay for the medical bills, can pay for your damages, pay for your injuries and your losses. But you have to file a claim with your own car insurance company because there's nobody else around. And by the way, they underwrite those claims. Sometimes people ask us, boy, is this going to affect my insurance rates, or is this going to affect me? Well, maybe, but probably not, because they already underwrote the risk. They already underwrote the loss. They understand that you might have a UM claim. They understand that they have a UM department and a UIM department.
How about physical injuries?
Yes. The same damages that you could collect from an at-fault driver, you can collect from your own insurance company under the UM, uninsured motorist, and UIM, underinsured motorist provisions. So, you can collect for your lost wages, you can collect for your medical bills, you can collect for your physical injuries, your pain and suffering, your emotional pain and suffering, your loss of quality of life, and your out-of-pocket expenses, not to mention the fact that you can also, not to forget the fact that you can also recover for your lost wages.
All right. It sounds like I'm collecting this from my own car insurance policy, correct?
Right.
All right. Is it just if it involves a car that I get to recover?
No, look, hit and runs can involve a situation where you're a pedestrian. If you're a pedestrian and you're hit by a car, you can collect your damages, injury, and losses from your own car insurance company, even though you were a pedestrian. You can recover your medical bills, your pain and suffering, your physical injuries, your loss of quality of life, and your economic losses. If you're riding a bicycle, and you're hit by a car, a hit and run, they left, you're injured, you're damaged, you can recover from your own car insurance company for your damages, injuries, and losses, even while you're riding your bicycle, because it involved the use and operation of a car, a motor vehicle as defined by your policy. So the same damages can occur. The same damages can be recovered. You can recover your medical bills, your damages, your pain and suffering, your physical injuries, your economic losses, and your loss of quality of life.
What if I'm 14 and I don't have any type of car insurance policy, and I'm out riding my bike and I get hit by a car?
Right, you're riding your bicycle, you're a minor, maybe you're delivering newspapers.
Or what if I don't have a license? Or what if I just don't have a car and I'm 30 or 40?
Let's assume you don't have a driver's license. Let's assume you're 14 years old. You're riding your bicycle. You're hit by a car. It's a hit and run situation. Then you can use the insurance policies, the car insurance policies of the people in your household. Maybe your mother, maybe your father. Sometimes you can add these together, which we're going to cover. You can stack them. But you can, since you're a resident relative, those are insurance terms, that's insurance lingo. You're a resident relative, you live in the household, you can use the car policies of the people who live in the household with you, normally your mother and father under that example.
What if I'm a passenger in the car, the driver has insurance, and then there's a hit and run? Can I get both policies,
right.
one
if you're
policy?
a passenger in a car, you occupy a very special position. You can recover in a hit and run, and remember the other car's gone, there's no insurance to go after for the other car. You can recover from the driver's uninsured motorist coverage, from the driver's insurance company and the driver's insurance policy. You can at the same time make a claim and recover from your own, as a passenger, your own car insurance company. It doesn't matter if your car was there or not. It wasn't, you were a passenger. But the UM, the uninsured motorist coverage, insurance coverage, follows you. It follows you into that car as a passenger. So you can recover from the driver's policy and you can recover from your own car insurance policy as a passenger.
Okay, what's this stacking all about? You talked about stacking. What is that? And tell me how it works.
And we've got some new laws coming along on stacking that help you, the consumer, help you and your family. But the traditional rule, and we still live with the traditional rule in many situations here, the traditional rule was that you could not stack certain policies, and insurance companies are allowed by law to put anti-stacking language in their policies. However, there are a couple of exceptions. If you have separate policies, let's take, for example, in your household, your father, you're a minor, your father has a policy from insurance company A. Your mother has a policy from insurance company B. Since it's two insurance companies, you can stack those and add those together. You can take the uninsured motorist coverage from insurance policy A and add on to it the amount of benefits under insurance policy B. And keep in mind that this law has changed to allow stacking in situations where you would not be able to stack in the old days. So now you need to look for stacking. You need to look for all the insurance coverages available to protect you and your family. And look, people ask us all the time, they settled a case and they didn't know they could go against the mother's policy, and they didn't know they could go against the teenager's policy. If you got a teenager in your house driving a car, you might be able to stack that policy along with grandma's policy, along with mom's policy, along with dad's policy. Do not leave these avenues unexplored.
Well, when I'm dealing with 22 to 23% of the drivers in Colorado uninsured, what do I need to do? What's the best idea as far as insurance coverage?
The best thing to do is to get the highest limits you can for uninsured motorist coverage. To get the highest limits you can for UIM, underinsured motorist coverage. If you check with them, the rates are fairly cheap. Some companies are cheaper than others, but you can get $250,000, $500,000, $1 million of coverage in case you're taken out or injured or taken out of your game plan by one of these uninsured drivers, including a hit and run driver.
Why, come on, 50,000, 100,000, why wouldn't that be enough? Do you really see cases in excess of those amounts?
Yes, we see those cases. We can't talk about specific clients, but I've seen them in my career where the medical bills are $900,000 plus. The medical bills are $450,000 plus. You need the highest UM, that's the lingo, UM, uninsured motorists, and UIM, underinsured motorists, coverage that you can buy. Check it out. I think you'll find it fairly cheap and available.